Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. Today on the program, Chief of Army Staff visits Zamfara Warfront, charges troops to sustain the offensive as governors, Sultan and Christian Association of Nigeria call for prosecution of terrorists, bandits, kidnappers. VAT open grazing bills kill second breeding at Lagos House of Assembly. Rivers State Governor Wike threatens to impose lockdown amid rising COVID-19 cases. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. In a show of exemplary leadership and determination to win the war against insurgency in Nigeria, the Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahya, has visited the troops in the Zamfara front line and charged them to sustain attacks against bandits. This is as the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Dr. Kaide Fayemi, the Sultan of Sokoto, Dr. Muhammad Sahad Abubakar III, and the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Olashupo Olakunle, called for the prosecution of terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers in Nigeria. Let's take the story.
I came around since yesterday, going around Operation Adarendaji and 8th Division AOR, area of responsibility, so that I meet the troops on the ground and see things for myself again. I was here before, but the troops are doing their best, and we will do everything possible to improve the situation. And you can see that in a very high spirit and high morale, and they are ready and ever ready to work. It's a joint task force with all other elements. So we have the Navy here, we have the Army, we have the Air Force, we have the Police, DSS, Civil Defense, and all others, and you can see them working in unison. That's why.
Jide, there's fire in the mountain in Zamfara. I was excited when I saw your Facebook post yesterday before we started the program, and you know, for months now, for weeks now, this is what we've been calling for, and we hope it can just be sustained so that we just get these bandits over with, this their menace over with.
Yes, I'm sure that President Buhari and his team realize that these bandits have been a tremendous embarrassment to his administration. And when you see some of the boys who are bandit leaders, honestly, you will be very angry. You will be very angry when you see them, the bandit leaders, Dankre, Metruji, Kachala, you small boys holding a whole nation to ransom. So we just have to sustain the offensive. It is what I had been asking for months that we are beginning to do now. A coordinated operation across the areas that have been terrorized by bandits, not the piecemeal attack Katsina today, go to Zamfara tomorrow. No, it will never work. Now this one is working because there's nowhere to run to. Some of them have abandoned their motorcycles. They are running away on foot. They are asking for mercy, because in the past politicians spoke with them. Politicians negotiated with them. We've been before with a governor who called a bandit leader in my presence. They've been negotiating with them in the past, so they know them. Now, seeing that they are facing heat, some of them are calling now that, please, we want this operation to stop. We are ready to do whatever you want. I say, no, you can't be trusted. In the past, we trusted you. We gave you amnesty, but you didn't stop killing people. So now, they are being hit in Katsina, they are being hit in Brenengwari, they are being hit in Zamfara, the two major forests in Zamfara state. Kuyambana forest, they are being hit there. In Dansadao, they are being hit. In fact, the Chief of Army Staff went to Dansadao yesterday. He's just reporting to the press here. We don't have videos of him on the war front, but he went there to tell the boys that this offensive must be maintained. It is in the interest of everyone that this offensive is maintained, nowhere to run for them again. Some of the logistics that they needed to even survive have been denied them. And now that there is bombardment, how are you going to even restock? So they don't even know. They are now mixing up with civilians in some villages, mixing up. And even the fear that we have now is that they could even turn against civilians and start killing people, believing that they are the ones who told the military where their camps are. But everyone knows where their camps are. Each of the bandit leaders has his own area of influence that he dominates. Dan Keremi was born and raised in the Zurmi area. That is where he stays. There's a video of Dan Keremi. If you see the way he was talking, the arrogance in his voice. When Zamfara officials went to beg him, you see arrogance in the voice of a little boy. And the bulk of the boys that Dan Keremi uses are between 16 to 19 years. To even find someone who is about 20 in his group is difficult. That's why they call him Mbokoi.
What's the meaning of that?
Ensha Bokoi. That means the one who uses the 17-year-olds. When they say you are Mbokoi, in this context, Ensha Bokoi, in this context, they are saying you are the something like a leader of 17-year-olds. Because those boys, that is their age range. The boys that he goes about with, heavily harmed. And he was boasting about how he dealt with people who were asked to come and arrest him, how he wasted them. You know, small boy. Even from his face, you see that this is a little boy harassing us as a country. Dogo Gidetu is a young boy. Turuji is young. But now, if we don't get this right and ensure that there's no escape for these boys and everyone is free from their nonsense, then people will know that we have problems in our country. But I have every reason to believe that this thing is on the right path. They are doing the right thing, and the Chief of Army Staff is happy with what he has seen. So why won't I be happy? Because we want to be able to move freely the way we want. But these boys have denied us free movement in our country.
It's as bad as they now go into, you know, houses and pick people now. Pick people. And a lot of people
that's
should we leave them?
What we've always called the soft targets. Once there is heavy bombardment on their camps, they move that way. It has happened in the Northeast, where they move into villages, slaughter people to prove that they are still potent, whereas they are unable to confront the military. But like BKO said, what we need now is total rain of bullets on them, so that at some point, you know, there is nowhere to go. One, I was happy this week, despite the fact that we know the telecoms companies were going to suffer major losses, that telecommunication was shut down in Zamfara. One of the governors is also calling for it to be done in his own state.
Katsina.
Meaning that,
local governments.
yes, it is working. So once there is no communication, it becomes difficult for them.
They can't ask
What is happening in that? Where is the safe
haven? They need
again?
information to say, okay, this is where to go and hide.
You know?
But whom are they going to call?
Who are they going to call?
And you are being bombed. You are being bombed, but nobody to give you information that this is the safe area. Yeah. Go to this area.
Location.
You are safe. This is where soldiers
this is how the military. This is how the soldiers are moving. No more information.
So they are not just bombing them. Soldiers are positioned at their exit routes. So,
because if what happened in the past, when they were able to kill soldiers in their numbers, was communication. They knew how the military moved. They knew at what point they were. So now nobody is talking to anybody again. So how we have been able to coordinate this, I think, should be commended, because it's what we've always called for.
Yes.
You know, synergy of all the armed forces and the police and civil defense. So I think it's working now, and we should sustain it.
Okay.
Critically.
Like we mentioned earlier, the 40 barrels in a tactical artillery weapon of the Nigerian Army. This is how it just works. So you can imagine what will be the result of this. When this is different from the one
it's not
that will come from the sky.
It's a major artillery weapon in the arsenal of the Nigerian Army, and wherever they take the 40 barrels to, you know that
it's a lot of damage.
The enemy is gone. There is no escape for the enemy because of his range and his capacity to destroy. Is much more effective than using RPGs, as you can see. And the range is about 19 miles. So with a range of 19 miles, anything on his path, anything, forget that whole, whether it is armor tank, they are going to be set ablaze, and it's going to kill so many people. You know, but it's extremely expensive. So it's not in all combat that you can deploy it. It's extremely expensive. Each of those mortars are very expensive. So, but we are deploying it in this battle to underline how serious we are. We are using the 40 barrels in this battle, and that should send a clear signal that we are not playing with these boys.
So apart from using the artillery, they will now deploy
it's also an artillery weapon.
Yes, this is what I meant by artillery, that they will not
The
deploy...
And they are bombing them as well.
They
are using air power as well. As you can see, even the chief of army staff said even the navy is involved. So it's a concerted effort. And the great thing about this regime of service chiefs is that unlike the previous service chiefs, they are working together.
Yes.
You know, those ones who are quarreling with one another, this one wanted to become chief of defense staff. We don't have that under this leadership. And it's great credit to them. I congratulate the CDS and these people. They are working together. Now operations are coordinated by the Ministry of Defense, which is the role, which is the duty of the CDS, defense, to any operation that is happening involving the three arms. Is the CDS that is in charge. We are seeing a lot more of that now. We are seeing all the services coming together to say, okay, we are waging this war, and the defense, defense ministry is involved. The office of the chief of defense staff is coordinating. That's what we want to see. Not that the Air Force will suddenly get up and start bombing on its own. The army will go on its own. That can only happen when there is no synergy between the service chiefs. Now we have synergy between the service chiefs, and we will get the results. The value of working together, we are seeing it now. We just hope that this intensity will be sustained. Whatever Shegumi says, we should just ignore him, because Shegumi couldn't stop these bandits from killing people. He couldn't stop these bandits from kidnapping people and asking for ransom. See, people sold their houses, all their life savings, to be able to retrieve their children from bandits. Shegumi couldn't stop it. He couldn't stop it. Now, you can't then step in now and say, no, that they should hold their fire. No, nobody should hold this fire. Let this fire rain on these good-for-nothing bandits. That is what we want. If we relax at this point, this is 2G. If we relax at this point, then we're in trouble. We can't relax.
Even the information dissemination is much better now.
Yes.
You can see that we're not speaking from different sides.
And contradicting themselves.
It's even across all operations. Look at what happened in Bayelsa the other time when a bomb was said to have been dropped on a boat. Before, you would have been hearing the Air Force speaking, the Navy speaking because it's a water issue. But now there is synergy. There is some coordination.
So defense headquarters is doing a lot of coordination.
You can even feel it. And I liked it that right from the onset, all the service chiefs, when they spoke during their inaugural meeting with their heads, they said it, that they are all going to work with the Chief of Defense Staff. Yes. They were very clear when they said it. And it's happening.
6 months, we saw this dysfunctionality and people kept quiet. Nobody seemed to be doing anything about it. And when it was affecting the operation, it was affecting the battle.
We were talking about it, some of us were talking about it, but people who have made up their minds that when some of us talk, they will misinterpret what we are saying to mean he does not like the army, he hates also persons. Absolute rubbish. How can you say, I don't like the army? Oh, they will say, he doesn't like Buhari. Those things, it's not as if we did not complain at that time. Of course, yeah. I even went to the point of saying 2 service chiefs do not worship in the same mosque.
Yes, I remember.
Yes.
Several months.
It was true. And they can't deny it. This is a fact.
I'm going to the same mosque.
No. And when you have that level of acrimony between you, it will cascade to your juniors. All the people who work with you.
The operation.
And they will never work together. It was, what we usually see is a situation in which when you have service chiefs, one of them gets promoted to CDS. Obasanjo did that throughout his time. I think that generation of service chiefs that were told to go recently, they must have felt that one of them, because Oloni Shakin was way above them. Yeah. So they knew that Oloni Shakin would eventually have to go. But the president kept him there for too long, even despite it was against the constitution for them to remain that long. Now, one of 2 service chiefs felt that he would be chosen to become CDS. And that was the source of the rivalry. But the rivalry was affecting work. We could have recorded much more success if not for that. And the then Chief of Army Staff was telling us that for 30 years, insurgency will not end. That is a doomsday prophecy that God will not allow to happen when he faced the Senate.
Is it 30 years?
No, I think I had 30 years. How can you say 30 years? What we will be doing with these boys? Yeah, he never said so. No, sometimes he will even say that we are going to win. Remember when he said he will not return from Maiduguri until we have defeated Boko Haram. But when we couldn't defeat Boko Haram, he left and quietly went back to Abuja. Nobody was talking about it.
So when he was he was screened.
Yes. As, he had left the seat. He now said it will last for 30 years.
This thing.
No, this, by the grace of God, this insurgency will not last for 30 years.
Yeah, it will not last for 30 years.
When we defeat the bandits, when we defeat the bandits in the northwest and north central, they will be able to face Boko Haram squarely. Because all of these distractions, Boko Haram is not even for the army. Then you have bandits. If we decimate these guys and they no longer constitute a threat, we will now go and face Boko Haram squarely.
But where did we get it wrong? Because we have teenagers, young men, now being bandit, parading themselves as bandit leaders, and they are meant to be in school. Some of them are meant to be in secondary, university. I don't know. What do we start from here? And it will still be, they will still be influencing others.
One of the things we've always had from
like a wasted generation,
from some very honest northern leaders, was that there was a problem with leadership in the north that failed to prioritize education. and
Western
economic
education.
growth. Because if you don't work on all of these things, for young people to have a new orientation from what they are coming with, where violence is the language that they understand, where there is no education to say to them that, see, there are better ways of doing what you are doing, maybe as a farmer, whichever branch of farming you are into, or maybe as somebody who has gone to school, to point them in the direction of those who have done well, having had education, then there is always a problem. Because what we've always seen is this sense of, we have one leader. When it is evening time, we all go and sit with him, we eat in his house, and then we take our poverty away. And it is that level that a lot of these people have been operating in so many years. That is why it is easy to sell it to them that Western education is devilish. Otherwise, yes, why do we have those army of young people who have nothing they are doing, who don't have a vision of what the future holds for them? Once you lack focus, once you lack vision, once you don't have anything you are looking forward to, then even your own life will not matter to you, not to talk of those of others. And that is why we found ourselves with the knot in this problem. Because a young boy who wakes up and does not even value his own life can waste those of others. That's basically what has happened. In terms of economy, the knot has not grown so well. Education is the same. That is why it is difficult for herdsmen to understand that you make more money when you ranch than when you keep pushing your cows around. It's difficult for them to understand it because it's still the same old way that they want to keep going. And I think if we don't watch it, we're going to have more of these young men in town committing these atrocities.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout, and Jide, I can tell you that I feel somehow relieved and happy that after months of, a lot of people will think that we derive pleasure in talking about bandits holding Nigeria to ransom, as if we're happy about the situation. And you need to see, when I read your update yesterday, the kind of joy that came into my heart that yes, it is time for the Federal Republic of Nigeria to prove to these idiots that look, they can't hold the country to ransom. Yes. They should kill them. They can't even find their dead bodies with this kind of munition.
No, it's 40 barrels. You
can't find their dead bodies.
Completely burnt.
Just mutilate them. So that's the kind of death they deserve.
That is it. Because they too have killed so many people. We kill so many people. You enter a community, kill 30 people, burn their houses, destroying people. And in this case, it has nothing to do with religion or ethnicity. I read the governor, I think it was an article that was saying Fulanis are greatest victims of banditry. No doubt about it.
No doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. Nobody is arguing about that. Yes. Because when you go to their communities in the northwest and parts of north central where they are attacking people, they are the people living in those places. In the southwest and other places, it's just on the highways that they normally keep people, or maybe when they enter people's farmlands. But there are communities in Zamfara that have been taken over completely by these bandits. The owners of the communities have been chased away. So there's no doubt about it that, look, these guys have suffered enough. Suffered enough from their own brothers. Now nobody has sympathy for them again.
Rulers, want to kill them. Lawmakers in Katsina now. That's now like the in thing. The lawmakers.
Our friend, they kidnap his brother now. The SGS, they kidnap his brother.
It's just all over, and like it has been said. But for the fact that we love Nigeria, it's possible for those in the southwest to say, see, it's their problem. Let them keep worrying about it. But now everybody is showing concern. And we need
if we didn't talk
to
about
keep
it,
showing that concern.
will they show concern to go and do this work? That's what people don't
Will
realize. If we treat a problem like it was not there, we will
It's
go and
even
address
our
it.
responsibility right now, as they're making progress, we'll be telling Nigerians.
Yes, they are making
that
progress.
they are
and we'll
making
be
progress.
praising.
Because
That's the
we're
way
happy
we
with the
are.
progress.
It's not a personal thing.
It's not.
They get to
It's
misrepresent us at times.
Yes.
We need to give
they
credit audience.
want
and
to
everything.
show that they are the ones who are patriotic. When you hammer at a problem, you are challenging your government to deal with
work
that
on it.
problem. It's not hatred.
It's not.
You know, some of those who
not.
turn against us and block us, they think we hate the government.
No, we can see
And
action.
What is what hatred over what? If Nigeria is better, it is to my
you don't
joy.
even know half of them.
Do they even know? The people that they think I hate, when those people see me, I know how I'm received. Those ones think that, yes, Jide is our friend. But there are some people who want to kill themselves over those people. That, look, Jide doesn't like so person. Come and see that person when he sees me. You will now know that you have been fighting for nothing.
For nothing.
No, nothing.
We are fighting for our country. We want the best for our
Exactly.
country.
It
And
is
Nigeria will
about
become
Nigeria.
better in our time.
It's about Nigeria, not about many
Alright.
section.
Okay. The passion to make life easy for residents of Lagos by the Lagos State House of Assembly through laws that are truly people-centered has come to the fore again. The bill on the state of value-added tax VAT scaled first and second reading on Thursday, while the bill on open grazing has been treated for speedy reading. According to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, the bill on open grazing will ensure harmonious relationship between herders and farmers and protect the environment of the state and the southwest region, while the bill on the VAT will lead to an increase in revenue and ensure infrastructure development when passed into law. Jerry, let's take it one by one. We gave that updates as corrected by Mr. Tunji Bello that the Lagos State government, they've already worked on this open grazing law and it's left for the Assembly to come back from the recess and actually treat it. Now you can see the expedite action.
working on it
Yes,
now.
they've given it now.
They're working on it. They're working on it, and the Assembly is making input, as it's usually the case
Yes.
with this Assembly. The Lagos Assembly has, over the years, shown unarguably to be the best in the country.
In terms of
And
effectiveness.
in terms of coming out with ideas that can make the state better. When people were not thinking of even this community policing,
Yep. That's
the speaker sponsored a bill for us to have community policing in Lagos.
yeah.
That was long before the idea of Amotekun came.
Yes, long.
Yes. So we
That's
have
when we
had the
this- what's
neighborhood
their name?
call.
Neighborhood watch.
We have neighborhood call. The neighborhood call
Call.
is working in Lagos. We used to have neighborhood watch. That was the one that came first.
Okay.
So the neighborhood call, that was the bill that the
Okay,
speaker
rectified it.
sponsored. And then we have them now. We have their uniform. They help with
They gather intelligence.
They help with traffic
You hardly see
control
them, but-
and all that. No, their own work is to demonstrate their knowledge of their areas.
Yes.
Provide intelligence that the law enforcement
Work with the police.
officers can use to crack crime. So they've always done well, no doubt about it. And there are some very cerebral individuals in that house
Awesome,
that
awesome.
I'm personally proud of. You know, now I'm not surprised. They made their own input, and part of the input is that for even carrying arms illegally, if you are a header, you are carrying arms illegally, it's 21 years. Because it is still with those guns that they kill people on their farms. So you can do your thing, but don't carry arms illegally. That is there. The issue of VAT, we've always said that VAT is a consumption tax. And in the place where you are collecting VAT, the community should benefit a lot more because it's a consumption tax. We've seen what happened in Rivers State, led by Governor Wike. Now, other states they've seen the benefit in it, other states are plugging in. You can imagine Lagos knows that it will gain about 500 million.
They even account for 55% of the total VAT.
Yes.
Lagos alone.
Yes. Lagos in the whole country.
Yes, the whole country, 55%.
Now they are looking at what will come to them. Extra revenue will translate to greater infrastructure development. They'll be able to build schools, build more hospitals, provide for social services for people. So they are already thinking that this is the benefit that will come from it. The truth that we must tell ourselves is that this is not a political issue.
Straightforward.
It's a social issue, socio-economic issue. That's how I want to define it. It is restructuring coming in another form without firing a shot. Now, let's not deceive ourselves. And the reason I say this is not a political issue, it's not an ethnic issue. States like Osun, they are going to feel the impact when it goes to the states, when the collection, the power to collect goes to the states. States like Osun, states like Ekiti, they will suffer like other states that do not have tremendous internally generated revenue potential. So it's not, the effect will not be felt in one part of the country alone. It's going to be across board. It's going to be Ebonyi. They will feel it. And Ebonyi is in the southeast.
Yeah.
As they will feel it in Ebonyi, feel it in some states of the southwest. I think if not for maybe Lagos, FCT, Rivers,
Delta,
many states will feel it. Many states will feel it because they've always relied on revenue from the center, and then FIRS is going to lose at least half of the revenue that it usually accounts for every year. So if FIRS was doing
more than enough.
They'll be
It's a major one.
about 3 trillion will be gone from what FIRS usually gets in a year.
So Dr. is all about you can't reap where you don't sow.
Yes, that is basically what it is.
As in,
that is basically what it is. Like the speaker said in Lagos, it's true federalism coming into play through another means, not through the back door now. Very simple. We've always
Lagos has the most
populated. These things have always been there.
Commercially viable.
The revenue that was distributed in August, for instance, you had a VAT of 140.55 billion, and the Southwest accounted for 800 million out of this, meaning that the rest of the country gave about 600 million. And then
the remaining 5 geopolitical zones.
Yes, the whole of them. So you now ask yourself, why is it that the Southwest can't get more of that revenue? Especially when you go to the fact that what constitutes VAT?
You states.
You have
put it state by state now. According to your strength.
You have entertainment.
Yep.
Entertainment speaks of a lot of things.
Lagos, Abuja, Owerri, Rivers,
the hotels, and in some states you have them destroying bottles of alcohol. Yet they benefit from the same VAT in equal proportion.
In fact, the profit coming from Guinness, Nigerian breweries,
you
then ask yourself that,
are
we truly in difficult times? Who are the people drinking this kind of beer?
Yes, the Christian religion will say no to consumption. The Islam will say no consumption.
Who are the people drinking this thing?
So let's look at what
profits from those
profits. Huge money. The speaker in Lagos said it is an opportunity for us to emphasize again on the need for the consideration of true federalism. Because I make money, you want to share from that money. I should be the one to decide how much I want to give you. It's just like I earn my salary. You are a member of my family. And then you now come to me and say, this is how much you must give me.
Well, there is a need for a conversation.
Yeah, so we need to
sit
but that conversation is not holding.
That's the thing. I would, for example, want to see
that is where the
some conversation on how these things should be shared in a manner that will please everybody in a manner that no one will feel cheated. Because that's the way it is even in the US.
Yes.
You know? So states contribute to the national pool. You understand? Yes, true federalism is happening, but it is decided how much you contribute to the national pool.
Sometimes you might not like the way he talks, you might not like his approach, but sometimes you will look at the way, how Governor Wike has fought this battle, and you want to say, look, thumb ups to somebody like Governor Wike.
He's a lawyer.
It's still,
You can't
you know,
take it
the
away
thing
from
is,
him.
you know, the battle is still on.
It's still on.
Because he has only won at one judicial level.
Yeah.
He still has the appeal court.
And he's going to
still
go
have
up to the Supreme Court.
And this matter will get to Supreme
That's
Court.
what the FRS is banking on.
Yes,
we don't know of execution in the.
I know, they
so
said
he has
no.
directed these people to start collecting.
they
the
said- yes.
They can do it
That's
for
the
now.
radical approach to me. We should start collecting
The
it
court
immediately.
refused to grant an injunction to that effect. So
It's just start collecting my
FRS
money.
lost at that point. So the
Pending the time of.
yes, they can collect until a superior court says no.
Otherwise.
So nobody is even saying that he has won the battle. But the courage to
Just dance.
is noteworthy.
Yeah.
That courage is noteworthy.
If you remember the
We
Bola
should continue
Tinubu
to test
administration
our
that time,
laws. That's
through
the way
vice
I see
president,
it.
through this vice
I
president,
also don't want us to
challenge a
forget
lot of.
that this same issue, we can stretch it further by looking at what happens to the oil producing communities. They earn something extra for giving us oil. So if they are earning, then those who are bringing in the VAT should also earn.
There is one more.
We can
That's
stretch
already
that logic.
That's the way it is.
30% derivation.
You know, we can
have
stretch
the
that
oil
logic.
producing.
Yes. You can't just say, make your money and bring it to the center. Let us share. When I know that others are not bringing, they are not contributing equally. So I think it is that, okay, even all the figures that we have had shows that, see, it is from Lagos that you get most of this revenue.
Non-oil revenue generally in
Yes.
our country. Lagos accounts
Lagos.
for the bulk of
Ports,
non-oil
everything.
revenue.
Lagos
Either from
has
the ports or this or non-oil revenue.
So
Do you think, as we await other states of the south to, conclude a
That if they are
signing of
interested.
the open grazing law, Miyetti Allah came out yesterday to tell the government to tell these states to please stop and let a conversation be held. I don't know what you have to say to this.
You know, this Miyetti Allah, I always emphasize that there are two factions. The faction that makes the most noise is not the mainstream faction. The Miyetti Allah, Kaltahori, they are not the main faction. The mainstream faction, they don't make that noise. They are not an adversarial. They are not always ready to fight. They are not always abusing people as the other group. Remember that even when this open grazing thing, when the governor of Ondo State was going to come up with it, the Miyetti Allah, the mainstream faction,
You're part of the
were
meeting.
part of it. And they told us, we brought them on TV. They admitted that they even like what the governor has done because they too are victims of criminal herdsmen.
Yeah.
They too are victims. In fact, one even told us of the story of how, because they reported some criminal herdsmen, they murdered one of their men. They detained them, the police released the guy, and then after he was released, they went and murdered a fellow Fulani man that reported them. So we need to get it right. I always want to know which group is talking before I know even how to respond.
Most Nigerians
Remember one of the groups, one of the groups
people.
even said the other day there was one group was even abusing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes.
One of those two Miyetti Allah group, and the other group had to come out to say, look, we are embarrassed because we couldn't have said some these things. The man had not offended them. So I always like to know, because to say Miyetti Allah, which one? Because I don't recognize the other group. I recognize the mainstream Miyetti Allah. More of their members are with that group.
Yes.
That's the one that I recognize.
More of the responsible.
Yes,
members.
their members are with that group. They don't talk anyhow. They don't look for trouble. Even the governor of Benue State, I remember that he made that distinction.
Yes.
That it is the other group that is causing trouble. So I really, whatever those ones say, honestly, I'm not bothered.
Because I've been looking at the position of Governor Aminu Bello Masari and Governor Ganduje on this thing, and they've even led the forefront of saying, look, this thing, we must stop this thing.
Yes.
This thing should not continue. So if
for those who have been following this, we all know that this is the solution. Like Biko said, there are two factions. That other faction that wants trouble, that wants to eat up the polity all the time, we should begin to ignore them.
Honestly.
Sometimes I think that even
Attention,
as
maybe just
journalists,
attention seeking.
we also need to now see who do we want to
distinguish,
report,
yes.
so that we start. I mean,
Not people hit up the
knocking
polity
them.
unnecessarily.
Not people want
Okay,
to.
I have Abubakar calling us from Kano. Thank you for joining us, Abubakar.
Yeah, thank you very much. Papa Jide, Ayodele, and the other guests in the house. You are well done.
Oladipo.
Yeah, Dr. Oladipo, yes, you are well done.
Thanks.
On our own situation of federalism, sometimes I get confused when people mention what is true federalism. And I ask, I've checked through the whole books, through the political science book, through the theories of federalism. All what I have seen there is either you have federalism or you have top federalism. And when I ask people who propagate and promote true federalism, I ask them who propagated federalism and where is it practiced. They tell you it is practiced in the United States of America. United States of America don't practice true federalism. They practice top federalism. It's a confederation state. That's why you see states have their own electoral law. They have their own Supreme Court. And a lot of things in terms of revenue they contribute to the federal. So,
wow, it's enjoying the conversation. Enlightenment.
Yes. I was doing well.
But he wasn't able to make it.
No, but the truth is that whichever way we look at it, we've always said it. Copying what other people are doing wholesale won't work for us in this country. We have to sit down, like Vicky has said, and talk to ourselves honestly, and say, see, this is what can work for us. Someone has put us together. We have seen over the years that splitting is a problem. So why can't we sit down and talk about this? What is our own definition of this federalism? Can we honestly talk about it?
In fact, the governor of Kano State was
honestly,
the first to even ask for the banning of moving of cattle from the north to the south.
So he said, was very clear.
So that means it's against open grazing.
Because
it's not an ethnic issue.
Who are educated, they know that these things can't work again.
It's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it.
Okay, and finally, it is longer news that the cases of COVID-19 pandemic are fast increasing all over the world with a new and deadlier variant. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says he may reimpose a lockdown beginning from January as the number of coronavirus cases surge in the states. Governor Wike lamented as worrisome the refusal of most churches and markets in the states to enforce compulsory wearing of face masks in adherence to COVID-19 protocol and urged leaders to ensure that their members comply with the safety protocols put in place. Babajide, I think the level of awareness and how, deadly this variant is, people need to know, and then it has been, with the strike of the resident doctors and everything, people should know that a lot of people, we lose people every day. People are dying. People are dying. This will not even give you space or opportunity.
And I can understand why Governor Wike is worried. The cases have been rising from Rivers State. In fact, there was a particular day last week when Rivers had more COVID-19 cases than Lagos.
Yes. Which has and it's by no, Rivers is not by any means a gateway to our country like Lagos. So how come
FCT used to challenge Lagos when it comes to COVID figures, but for Rivers to now trump Lagos on a given day, and it's been going up consistently, then I can understand why he's worried. Churches and mosques are covered areas, largely covered, which means that it can spread rapidly in churches if you don't follow the safety protocols. In open markets, it's a lot safer, much safer than covered areas. So churches should know that, look, these governors have allowed you to conduct services, but ensure that everyone respects the safety protocols put in place. That's the only way that we can keep ourselves safe. But a lot of us are behaving like this thing has even ended. Yes, we want to have our lives fully back, but the way things are going, if you observe even UK, lifestyle, you can see that UK is beginning to rise again.
Yes,
I won't be surprised. We are watching football matches now with people inside stadiums. A time will come when they will say no
more.
People should not
so
watch
what happened
matches
between
again.
Argentina and Brazil?
Yeah.
They came to pick people.
Yeah.
How
do you come into another person's country, refusing to isolate, refusing to follow their safety protocols? It's disrespectful.
Even the match Nigeria is playing tomorrow, our guys from the UK, they've all gone back.
And because
they know that once you go there,
you can't play for your club.
You can't play for your club. For
those are
2
countries.
weeks.
There are some countries that have been, some countries have been identified.
It's on the list of UK that once you go there, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
And
so
if you are
it's that bad.
So a lot of those players will refuse to go and play.
They're back in the UK. They're back.
You know, even Man United didn't allow Cavani to go and play for his country.
Yeah.
Even Cristiano Ronaldo too had to.
No, that one was because he got a yellow card for removing his shirt, so he's suspended from playing that match.
Okay.
He apologized. You know, when he scored that second goal, you know, he now removed his jersey. When you remove your jersey, it's a natural yellow card. Yes, meanwhile, he had taken a yellow card before, so it's an automatic 1 match ban.
Okay, I think my producer is informing me that the Nigeria Cape Verde match is on, and it's 1-1 now.
Oh,
the match is on now.
So, if we had all the huge players on the pitch, I'm sure that
all our English footballers,
they are gone back.
No, they won't play for their clubs.
They won't. So, on this, I think for me, a lot of people say Governor Wike makes a lot of noise, but I try to see sense in what he says. If you recollect when we had the first wave, he did it to the extent of detaining all workers right there in the stadium where they were. And it seemed very senseless at that point. But when you come to where we are now, you see that it's making some sense.
Yes.
Even now, apart from the Delta variant, there are some countries that they say they have the MU variant, which has defied all the
that one even evades vaccination. The immunity that vaccination should give, it evades it.
So if we get to the point where this one person with this crawls into this country, then we are in trouble again.
That's just
so that means all the vaccinations amounted to nothing.
It's nothing. So those of us who are vaccinated, we have to go back. When they get another vaccine,
God just show his supremacy.
So, for me, even in the
if that should surface like this, that would defeat.
So given that people come to our country a lot, it don't be long before.
So even when people are complaining that the order in Edo State that people can't gather and all the rest doesn't make sense, I still feel that we should put some fear in people. Because in reality, when you look at the number of vaccines that we have, vis-a-vis the number of people who have to go to parties and all the rest, what makes sense is for us to stay at home. I think
government will need to seek the cooperation of religious and traditional rulers to still key into this vaccination.
Even people should party less now.
Because, yes,
let them even the mask. That one is simple. Let people use it. When you are going to a crowded area.
It's strange now on the streets of Lagos, people don't use it in markets.
No, I said people are behaving as if this thing is gone.
It's gone. So I
Parties now, we hug ourselves at parties. We do things that we were avoiding before.
But there's this rush now in Lagos to get vaccinated. If you go around the general hospitals, you see long queues in the morning.
But rushed by how many people?
But the big question still is
How
many people can
Less
you
than
vaccinate with what you have now?
We don't have the capacity to do 10% of the country.
Like we've said, our only solution.
The last time
what
they
can
said
make
less than 1% have been vaccinated.
the thing that can make it quick for us is to have a production line in Nigeria. That's the only way. Because if we don't produce and we are still waiting on other countries, like
Even the one that come, the one coming, people are still skeptical. People are still not coming out.
Many
to
people
take
don't
it.
want
Yeah,
to.
people are still
Many
skeptical.
people don't want to take the vaccine.
they don't want to.
And it's not peculiar to Nigeria.
No, it's not.
In the
Yeah,
UK,
you can't
people
force
say
it.
no.
You can only enlighten people.
Even in the US,
Yes,
it's the same.
some people with point of death, they will say they want to be
They
vaccinated.
were asking the Manchester United coach now that how come some of your players are still falling to this virus. He now said you can't force all of them to take vaccines because Henderson, the goalkeeper, caught it. He said we can't force them. We can only appeal to them. If they say they don't want to take it, fine. So that is the thing. They just need more enlightenment, and the people should realize that it is for their own good to protect themselves. You know, don't behave like this thing is gone. It's still killing people.
It is.
It's still killing people.
It is. And daily too now in Nigeria. Before there were weeks we went without one death.
No,
now it has become daily.
And those are cases that get reported.
Yes.
Get reported.
So many don't get reported.
What statistics?
Because some just fall ill at home and they are
But
dead.
if you are not a big man, if you die of COVID, nobody will know. It is the big people die and then they tell us it was COVID.
You're right.
Dr. Oladikwa, thank you for your contribution.
Thank you so much.
And Babajide, we should also celebrate our own Ayo Moradio.
This is right.
Yes, hardworking reporter from Ondo State.
A good guy.
We shout out to very hardworking.
Good guy.
Ayo Lomo.
Wish you many more years of hard work.
Ayo Deji Moradio.
You've been a good servant of TVC.
Our correspondent.
I want you to continue.
Ondo State, wishing you a happy birthday. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcasts of this episode tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us on Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.